Hello, this is going to be a tutorial on how to format a table in Excel. And I'm going to work with this sample data here. This is lettuce seedling growth that's been treated, the soil's been treated with different kinds of garlic, fresh garlic, crushed sprouted leaf, and this is the control where there was no treatment on the soil. So the first thing I'm going to do is format the heading here. And as you can see, I can't see all of my titles, so I need to fix that. You could either make the titles as wide as they need to. You can do that by just dragging it or double clicking like this, but that I feel like makes it too wide. So I'm going to instead, let me just put this back where it was, I'm going to make this, this top row taller. And I also want to wrap the text. So to do that, I click on the cell, and right up here it says wrap text. Okay, I can also do all of these at the same time, wrap text. I think I want it a little bit bigger. And I actually do think I also want to widen these a little bit. To do that, I'm going to highlight all of the cells like this, and you want to drag where it has the letters up here, so click and drag. And you can do this a couple of ways. I usually just do right click, column width, and I'm going to give it, let's try 15. Actually, that's too big, so I can do it again, and I'm going to try 12. Okay, that looks better. So I'm going to come back to, actually no, I'll do that right now. So what I also want to do is I'm going to center these titles, and I want to make this one also centered vertically as well as centered horizontally. So I'm going to press center up here. So middle align and center your content left and right. I also want to make it bold, which you can do right here. And this also needs some units. So these were measured. This is lettuce seedling growth, and it was measured in millimeters. Millimeters, plus or minus. You could write your plus or minus like this. Sorry, plus or minus 1 millimeter. If you would like, you could instead get fancy with the plus or minus, and you could go to Insert, Symbol, and select plus or minus right here. Insert. And it gives me the nice plus or minus symbol, which I think looks nice. Okay, so all I'm going to do is copy this and put the same unit for the rest of these, including my control. Okay, there we go. All right, so the heading, the column titles look good. Next thing I want to do is calculate my mean. So I'm going to put the means right down here. So I'm going to write mean, and I also want to eventually get standard deviation. Okay, so to get the mean, you're going to go to formulas. First, you need to put your cursor, click on the cell that you would like the mean to go in, and go to formulas, insert function, and the mean is called average right here. So click on that. It should be, it's a commonly used function, so it should be right in the menu here. Hit OK. It will automatically pick a certain number of cells for you. I like to make it a habit of making sure that it has picked the right data that I want. By clicking and dragging it, you'll see this moving dashed line go around it, and then you hit OK. And so my mean is 4 here. To get the rest of these, you could do the same thing again, or this little square in the corner, you put your cursor right over that. Your cursor changes from this to this, and drag it along, and that will give you the mean of the other columns that you have, which is handy if you're doing a lot of means. Okay, for standard deviation, it's similar. Formulas, insert function. It's called STDEV. Mine just happens to be right here. If you can't find it, you can search for it in this box up here by typing STDEV and hit go. Hit OK. This one is saying that it's going to grab the data from B2 all the way to B12, which is our mean, which is what we don't want. So that's why I try to make it a habit to always just tell it what data you want, which is right here. Hit OK, and there's my standard deviation. Drag this over so you get the standard deviations for the other two columns. Okay, so we have our mean and standard deviation. I want to fix a few things here. I would like all of these either to be all centered or all right aligned. I'm just going to go ahead and make them all centered. We go back to Home, Center. Okay, the other thing is that the decimal places should be consistent. Technically, these should all be either whole numbers or the other rule of thumb, so I can make them all whole numbers. And what you do is highlight the cells that you want to change the decimal places to, and you can either make them more decimal places going this way, or less decimal places going this way. But technically, if I make it all whole numbers, my standard deviations look almost the same. So another rule of thumb is that you can give the mean one more decimal place, oh, wrong one, and the standard deviation 2 more decimal places, 1, 2. Okay. I can't see my standard deviation title right here, so I'm going to wrap the text, and that looks better. And the last thing I want to do is give this some border lines, because if you were to print this, it would have no lines on it. So let me go back, and I'm going to highlight the whole thing, go up here to this little icon that looks like a window, go to the drop-down menu, and go to All Borders. You have a number of other choices here. You could do top or bottom or just inside or just outside. So you can manipulate it any way you want. I think I'm going to center these also. Okay, so that looks good. What I also want to do, I'm going to insert a row. So how I did that is I right-clicked up here and did Insert. I'm going to insert a row right here just to bring my table down, because what I want to do is put in a text box describing what's in this table. So to do that, I'm going to go Insert, Text over here, bring the drop-down menu, and click Text Box. Your cursor should look like this, almost like a down arrow, and I'm going to put in a text box right here. I'm going to line it up with my table. You could also do this in Word after you've copied your table into your paper. And I'm going to call this Figure 1. The first sentence of your text box should be describing what's in this table. So I'm going to say raw and processed data of lettuce seedling growth under treatment of garlic used as a bioassay. Okay, and then the next thing you should have is if any calculations were done using Excel, that should be stated and what formulas were used. So I'm going to say averages and standard deviations calculated using MS Excel. And in parentheses, I'm going to write the name of the formulas used. Let's say here. Formulas used were average and STDEV, standard deviation. Okay, so that's how to format a table.